Hello everyone, my group and I developed a data visualization project called A Visualization Approach to Job Hunt. My team members are Alan Daniel Allex, Dharmil Sanghavi, and myself Pooja Patil. Let me start off by introducing our project. It aims at serving our intended users such as recent graduates, current employees who are looking to switch to different sectors in a job falling under Fortune 1000 companies. When we hunt for a job, we have so many parameters to take into consideration. From our intended user's point of view, we have considered factors such as cost of living, state tax, crime rates of the states falling under Fortune 1000 companies in the United States, and of course, their profit and revenues. These visualizations will provide our users to take an informed decision based on their requirements. We use data on Fortune 1000 companies in US from Kaggle. To have more enriched data, we collected data on crime rate, state tax, and cost of living for each state. We now use right join to map states falling under Fortune 1000 companies with their crime rate, cost of living, and state tax. Here we have created our first worksheet which tells us about the Fortune 1000 companies sector-wise. Here you can see larger the size, higher is the number of companies in the sector. From this visualization, we can understand the financial sector is leading. It has total 155 companies under its category. The second one is energy, having 107 companies under energy, and technology at the third place, having 103 companies falling under its category. Now we can talk about our second worksheet. Our second worksheet tells us about the Fortune 1000 companies state-wise. Here you can see darker the shade, higher is the number of companies in the state. In this visualization, we can therefore conclude that California has total number of 118 companies in its state, thus resulting into a leading state in this visualization. The next state following after California is Texas, having 94 companies, and the third one is New York, having 93 companies. We then have created a worksheet based on the profit for the Fortune 1000 companies in the US. Here you can see the financial sector is the highest compared to the rest of the sector. We then have created a dashboard which is a collaboration of our two worksheets. The left side of the visualization you can see the Fortune 1000 companies sector-wise. The larger the size, higher is the number of companies in the sector. We can see the financials is leading, having 155 companies under its category. The second one is energy, having 107, and the third one is technology, having 103. The right side of the visualization, you can see it's the Fortune 1000 companies state-wise. In this, darker the shade, higher is the number of companies in the state. In this visualization, we can infer that California is the leading one, having 118 companies in its state. The second one being Texas, having 94, and the third one is New York, having 93 companies under its state. The next visualization will be explained by Alan. Over to you, Alan.
Thank you, Pooja. Continuing to describe our worksheet here. In this sheet, we have displayed the cost indexes of every state. So the way cost index works is it's a number that gives you an understanding where your money will go depending on the size of the number. So if the number is less, meaning you spend less. If the number is high, you end up spending high. So the cost index has something to do with your utilities, your transportation costs, your healthcare payments, your groceries, and even your monthly rents. So that's how the cost index is calculated. And the way it works is the higher the cost index, the expensive places, the lower, the cheaper. And the next one we have is the state tax. And so in here we've displayed all the state taxes below 5%. So what we've done is we've added a filter wherein we've just mentioned till 5%, and that's why it's just showing few states. and these are states which have taxes which is less than 5%. And the next one is a dashboard which has a combination of cost index and the state tax. So basically this dashboard is created so that we can use it in our story, which you'll see later on. And the next sheet that we have is the crime rate. So in this, the way it works is every state is calculated with some crime rate. They have some statistic behind it, but we don't know what exactly that is. And again, we have applied 5% in here, and it's showing all the states that have crime rate below 5%. And so assuming if you want to see a state that you want to work in, and you don't want a lot of crime rate in it, so you can pick it up looking at the data there. And here we also have a dashboard. So in this, what we've done is we've have the data of the previous state tax and also the crime rate, and so the data is overlaid on each other, and the filtered data is what you're seeing up here. So right now the state tax is applied for, let's see, up till 5 and below, and the crime rate is at 5%. So whatever data you're seeing up here is 5% and lower in crime rate and 5% and lower in state tax. And the next one is going to be the story, which is going to be spoken by Dharmil. Over to you, Dharmil.
Let's move on to the last part of our data visualization, which is the story. It has 5 story points. Depending on the sector, we get the distribution of companies state-wise. For example, when technology is selected, we get distribution of companies with respect to states. For California, there are 43 number of companies, followed by Massachusetts, Virginia, and Arizona. Now, if we change the sector to suppose say retailing, then again the distribution changes. The Texas has 9 companies, followed by California, which has 7, and it goes so on. Now let's move on to the next story point. Here, depending on the state, we get the distribution of companies for that state sector-wise. For example, when Texas is selected, there is a distribution of sectors as follows. Energy has 37 number of companies under the state Texas. Then the other state sectors are engineering construction, which has 6, retailing, which has 9, and financial, which has 7. There are other sectors as follows. Now, if we change the state to, let's say, California, then again the sector-wise distribution changes. Now, technology is leading and it has 43 companies, followed by financial and healthcare. Now, let's move on to the next story point. So, here currently financial and technology sectors are making the highest profits compared to the other factors. One might expect higher salary based on the company profits. Financial has a profit of 264k million, while technology has a profit of $177 million. Let's move on to the other story point. Considering cost of living and state tax factors for a job hunt, bar chart displays the cost of living by state and map has the state tax over imposted over cost of living, displaying the best states to work in. Your cost of index is set below 110, basically for showing lower cost of living. So these are the states which has below 110, and then moving on to the state tax, we have set it to below 5. So darker the shade, higher is the state tax. As you can see, these are the states which have a cost index of below 110 and a state tax below 5. Now moving on to the last story point, which is basically for the crime rate. Safety is one of the deciding factors in a job hunt. In this, crime rate is imposed over the previous cost index and state tax conditions. Default crime rate is set to 5%. So as you can see, we have the following states. This is basically obtained when state tax is set to below 5 and the crime rate is set to below 5, while also keeping the cost index below 110. As you can see, we have 7 states here while allowing all the filters here. Montana having a crime rate of 3.9%, Wyoming having a crime rate of 2.6%, Colorado having a crime rate of 3.9%, North Dakota having a crime rate of 1.3%, South Dakota having a crime rate of 2.9%, and Wisconsin having a crime rate of 3.2%, and New Hampshire having a 1.0 are the resulted states which are obtained by applying filters, state tax, crime rate, and cost of living.
Moving to our limitations and possible extension. Due to time restraints, we couldn't implement a lot of job titles and their salaries. So, if we did have time, we could implement job titles along with their salaries that differ from state to state. And once these are paired with sectors, they could prove very resourceful to a person who's looking for a new job. And to our final conclusion, our course work enabled us to create powerful stories through which we were able to portray what we were trying to say and use dashboards to create those stories. And through this project, we demonstrated our theoretical and practical knowledge to create a supplement for the intended users with their job hunt. Thank you.